Hello. It's been a minute since I've done one of these, so I might make a couple mistakes, but that's okay. This is the 20 top songs of 2023 list from me, the Fiend. Yes, that's me. In case you were wondering, check out in the description. I'm gonna have a Spotify and YouTube link to the playlist with all of the songs on it. There's like 80 songs on there. Right now, we're gonna be doing top 35. All of the rest of them are going to be other picks from albums that I enjoyed this year or other stuff that didn't come out this year that I was bumping on repeat all the time. So without any further delay, I've been told that I'm supposed to be holding a microphone now if I want to be successful. And like apparently that's what the algorithm likes. So I'm going to do it. But without any further delay, we go and get into it. This is top 35. Number 35, La Razón by David y Fernando and Solido. Not at all what I expected. This might tip y'all off that I'm kind of weird, but that's okay. This song is a cover of The Reason by Hoobastank in like a corrido style. That's what it is. Not at all expected. I didn't think it would sound very good at all. But it's absolutely wonderful, and it's so good, in fact, that Hoobastank, during their concerts, actually started performing this version instead of the other version that like actually made them successful. So if you think that's funny at all, like a funny concept, or if you like The Reason by Hoobastank, or if you like corrido, try this out. You won't be disappointed. Number 34, we got Glimpse of Us by Joji. Oh my goodness. It is just his, like, rarely ever do we witness an artist releasing their best song ever. And this year we got quite a few of those, and this is the first notable example because this drops in like March or April or something like that. And it is just beautiful. Nothing even comes close, not under any moniker. I think this really demonstrates the kind of maturity and growth that I was looking forward to seeing from Joji, coming from like, Pink Guy and all the mixtapes and stuff. And I hope this really sets him on a path in order to grow even more and, bloom out into one of those great artists who just drops even more great stuff as time goes on. Next up at number 33, we've got The Alphabet of Me. No, I did not plan for that to rhyme. By Haken, I don't know. This distinguished gentleman on the cover might be a little deceiving, but I promise you, this is not some kind of sophistopop or some kind of pretentious ass music. This is one of the best prog rock, prog metal songs of the last 5 years, in my opinion. It's kind of interesting to see because it starts off real slow and does all the kind of little goofy things that a lot of prog does, where it does a lot of staccato notes right one after another in like the stupidest time signatures you can imagine. And then it just hits, and it keeps hitting, and it doesn't stop, and it goes crazy. And if you like rock or metal and stuff, highly recommend that you check out this song. Maybe the album if you like it that much. I was considering a different song off of this album, Love Bite, instead, because I think I like that one a little bit more. But then I was like, this song is better. Like, you'll see that I have a lot of those moments on this list where one song on an album is better, but I like another one more, so that's gonna go on the list. This is a rare exception where the better one goes and not the one that I like more. Anyway, number 32, we've got Rodeo Drive by Gunna. Coming off of the back of that YSL case, I really did not expect much from Gunna at all. I didn't think he was going to drop an album or even like a couple singles or an EP, because I know he was like he was serving his community hours or whatever the hell. But then he just out of nowhere came out with an entire album with no features, so he just had to carry himself and really cement himself back, even though there's still all the YSL snitching, Young Thug, all that drama going on. He came out and released this, And there is a lot of the play on this album went to the song previous to this one, "Fuck You Mean," but I think I preferred this one. But I cannot separate the two. You know what I'm saying? Like, "Fuck You Mean" transitions perfectly into Rodeo Drive, and that's what I need more of from Gunna. I just need, like, that same level of productions, the same flow, the same, like, drippy kind of, like, just amazing combo between the production and the rap with, like, album transitions and more, like, cohesion to the overall piece. And this is a great step in the right direction. Number 31, we've got "Myself" by Yeat. There's going to be a lot of these where, like, sometimes an artist will just experiment in other genres or other sounds, and Yeat is known for doing that generally. I'm just noticing that I forgot the umlaut over the E in his name, but oh well. He's never going to see this. This comes right at the end of a really long album that's full of just, like, rage, trap, and all that stuff. And this sticks out because it sounds kind of like some kind of indie pop joint instead of the normal stuff that we would expect Yeat to release. It's kind of like a little dessert at the end of the album, you know. You got through a 4-course meal, you ate your vegetables, your steak, your surf and turf, whatever, and then right at the end you get a nice dessert, some apple pie a la mode. That's what this song is like, and doesn't sound anything like what he's done before, and I gotta give him props for that. And this song is probably my favorite on the album, hence why it's on this list. Next up at number 30. We've got "Hermosa Soledad" by Adonai Melodias and Asalia, my bad. I did not expect to find, like, the way that I found this song is kind of weird. It's hard to understate the power of Instagram and TikTok in making a song go big, because I found this one on, like, an Instagram video, and I was like, oh, that sounds pretty good. And I checked the comments, and someone gave the name of it, and I looked on Spotify, and the one that I found was actually, like, a sped up version, and the slowed down, like, the regular version sounds great. And it's a very, very, very warm, very happy piece. I don't understand most of it because my Spanish is pretty bad. But it hits all the right spots of, lone female singer with very, very fitting backing instrumentation and all of the right stuff, the recipe to make one of those songs that you put on and it's just like, man, I feel great right now. It feels like stepping out into the rays of the sun after it's been raining for like 10 hours, and you just sit there and you're like, damn, I am happy to be alive right now. And now we got number 29, "Past the Nirvana" by Pierce the Veil. Complete opposite. Take everything we just talked about, throw it out the window. It's gone. It's over there now. You gotta, like, this is one of the leads. I think this was the second single off of this, maybe the lead single. I don't even remember. And a lot of people were very excited because this was like a return to form for Pierce the Veil. And then when the album dropped, they were like, man, I'm just going to keep listening to this song because it's just so good. And I don't even blame them. Like, that's kind of what I did. I'm not going to lie. This is like, the way it just hits immediately is just like, and like gets really heavy and thick into those guitars. Like, it's not even like a very complex riff. It's just, kind of the same stuff, but the raw power behind it, the emotion, and like the way that the song discusses how a lot of the generation right now that is like in high school or just graduated high school, like the 16 to 24 age range, just feels so apathetic to the world around them because they've grown up in such a tumultuous time, and now they've had to come up in some of the worst, most harsh social and economic conditions of the last 60 years. It really just perfectly gets that feeling. like, you know, I'll get in the car. I'm like, man, I need to go for a drive. I put this on. I go on full blast. I'm losing my hearing. I don't give a damn because I'm just in there going like, you know, banging my head. Like my hair is going all over the place. It's kind of crazy. If I could see this live, I would. And if you haven't heard it yet, you should. And now we're on to number 28. I got to rep my homeboy. I don't really... I went to high school with this guy. And when I saw on his Instagram that he was dropping a song, I was like, damn, I got to check that out. And I'm very glad I did. This is Solo by GS Cujo. I'm not sure what the GS part means. I'm going to have to ask him next time I see him. This is really, I think, a definitive debut single for any rapper, to be honest. It really sets the groundwork for what kind of beats and production he's going to do and how he just dances on top of all of it. There's a lot of influence that I can kind of hear. I hear some Project Pat influence in there. I hear like 3 6 Mafia and a lot of like, not just that, but a lot of like modern trap influences as well. But not in the, like, it's kind of more in the Griselda direction and less in like the Atlanta, like Metro Boomin Future direction. And I think this song makes me very hopeful for what we're going to see in the future. And now we got number 27. Kind of similar, Johnny Dang by That Mexican OT featuring Paul Wall and Drodi. I don't actually know how to say his name. I should have looked it up before I started this video, but that's okay. Heard this one. This is the lead single off of Lone Star Luchador, the debut album from That Mexican OT. And you know, I'm from Texas. I gotta check out all kinds of new Texas artists because you know. And this did not disappoint, not at all. This is really a return to form for Chopped and Screwed production and all the kind of like Houston, especially staples, while introducing stuff that we don't really hear a lot of. You know, we haven't heard a lot of what this guy's doing before. He just he is on top of all of these beats and he's tiptoeing on top of them while crushing the eggs that he's walking on. Like, this motherfucker is rolling his R's where there are no R's. Like, sometimes it's kind of incomprehensible what he's saying, but it hits. And then like he gets into the lines and it just bam, back to back to back to back punchlines and just hard-hitting bars. And then Paul Wall gets on there, and then the other guy, Drody, gets on there, and it's just like, man, when this comes on, I can't help but just be like, ooh, okay, you know? It's one of those songs. And you should probably, if you're from Houston, if you're from Texas, you probably already heard this. But, you know, listen to it again. Why not? No reason not to. Number 26, Lagunas by Peso Pluma y Jaciel Núñez. It turns out I listened to a lot of corrido this year, but I'm not going to complain because this song just rules, man. Like, it's not really what I would expect from somebody like Peso Pluma. You know, he's kind of more of a rapper and not a singer. He does a lot more of the stuff that lends itself well to features, like, you know, Bad Bunny and all of the other kind of like Latin influenced styles and stuff. But this really stands out at the very end of the record as something that really didn't leave my mind. Like, it takes it takes his singing voice, which I didn't really hear a lot of on the album, and just puts it at the forefront, and like the guitar work on there and just like all of the little details and the way that everything just comes together. It makes this perfect song to be sitting in a reclining chair looking up at the moon, kicking your feet and being like reminiscent and shit. It's awesome. I think give this one a shot. If you're not really huge on a lot of the like Spanish or Latin rappers, you know, or even if you are, check this one out if you haven't already. I'd highly recommend. And we got number 25, Lift Off by Paris, Texas. I don't even know if these guys are from Texas, but I know it has Texas in the name. Funny story, I went to see JPEG and Danny Brown in Houston back back in August, and Kenny Mason was there, and he played his verse on one of the songs off this album, midair. And because of that, I was like, man, I got to check this album out. And it was very interesting. I was not disappointed, especially because this song, Liftoff, the way the style that Paris, Texas have chosen is like kind of a rap rock experimental hip hop combo with a duo, and like they really are just killing their own little niche here. And I think Liftoff is a great example of that. It's super driving. Like, it's a little bit goofy. You could tell that they're having a lot of fun with it, but it doesn't lose that edge. It doesn't lose the power behind it. And it's just like a driving song, kind of like the dirt bike and the cover art would suggest. And, you know, I feel like if I was in a sport, I would play this before I left, you know, to hype myself up for the game. And, you know, big props to these guys. Now we got number 24, Younger and Dumber. I listen, man, you gotta. I can't take any chances. Indigo de Souza is not a name that I had heard before this year. In fact, a lot of this stuff that I listened to this year is from artists that I had never heard before. But when I saw on the genre list like alt country noise pop, I was like, that sounds like an interesting combo, and it was. But then this song at the very end of the album, you'll find that I like closers a lot more than openers. This song at the very end of the album, it really dips into that country kind of influence and style, and like it opens up with just like acoustic guitars, and then you get the steel guitar, and they go like woo woo, and it's just like, man, and you get kind of depressed. I'm not gonna lie. Like the emotion behind this song, it just like, man, you know, I was doing my grocery shopping for the first, like when I heard this for the first time, and I had to stop in the middle of the aisle like a dumbass and just look at the macaroni and cheese and be like, man, what am I doing? What was I doing like 6 years ago? Oh man, I made so many mistakes and got me thinking about shit. And like, no, what other song does that? A lot of them, but this is just another one to add to that incredible list, and I would never want it to be off. Now we got number 23, Butt Kiss by Mustard Service. This was not one of the singles until after the album's release. This is probably my most anticipated album from this year, and I gotta say, this song really perfectly grabs the vibes of Mustard Service and what I listened to them in the first place even for. Like, it's the perfect mix really between, you know, upbeat, happy kind of indie rock, indie pop stuff, and like kind of not depressing, but just like heartfelt. That's what it is. It's the perfect combo between the upbeat indie style and the heartfelt emotions and lyrics that really define Mustard Service, in my opinion. I think out of all of like the 6 singles off of there's 6 singles because there's 6 cereal boxes on the cover. Okay, that makes sense. Out of like the 6 singles, this is probably going to be my favorite, even though I was bumping all of those before the album's release, and even now after the album's release. This consistently has been the number one, like, the wow track, you know what I mean? The one that really impressed me. And now we got number 22, Year Zero by Billy Woods and Kenny Seagull featuring Danny Brown. There's going to be a lot of Danny Brown on this list. I just discovered him this year, and wow. We'll get there though. We'll get there. Historically, I'm not a huge fan of the abstract hip hop. I don't listen to a lot of MF Doom. I don't listen to you know. I think a lot of the time it's kind of goofy and not really doesn't really mesh well with my at least my current hip hop tastes. But this album, and especially this song, are an exception because this is just some evil ass beat. Like, you get in there and it sounds like you are about to go in, like, a dude is holding you by the collar of your shirt over the pit of hell, and he's just about to drop your ass in there. And this song comes in and just and it sounds sinister, and then he comes in and he's like, I'll quit looking for solutions, bought a pistol and learned how to use it. I'm like, okay, bro, what did I do? Relax, you know? And like he just keeps spitting and going, and like there's some bars where like he starts on one loop of the sample, and then it goes for like 3 more loops before it hits the rhyme, and then you get like 3 immediately after that, and it's so unpredictable and wild. And then dannybrown get on there, and he's just like, they like strip the beat a little bit, and he goes harder on the stripped beat than he would on the regular one, and like he just is spitting the whole time, and like he gets 2.5 entire minutes dedicated to his verse. It's crazy. This song is crazy. On God, you go listen. This, of all of the songs that I'm gonna recommend tonight, you go listen to this one first, just to understand what the hell I'm talking about. If you've heard this song, you know. And speaking of number 21, No More Lies. I don't know why that wasn't really a transition, but that's okay. By Thundercat and Tame Impala. This song makes me want a full collab album between Tame Impala and Thundercat. Like, I already like them both separately. This is a combo I didn't even know I wanted. It's like Red Velvet and Sweet Cream. Very specific example. And like they really complement each other very well. They're not quite like a foil. It's not like Goku and Vegeta. It's more so like they bounce off each other very well, you know, like slow as the track builds up, they throw the ball to the other guy, and then he like moves up and throws the ball, and they just keep going up. They keep going up like that for the whole song for like 5 whole minutes, and it's just awesome. I really cannot get enough, and I hope that this is the sign that we're going to get more stuff like this in the future, and this isn't just a one-off deal. All right, now we're in the top 20. Y'all ready for this? We got Werewolf by Lil Uzi Vert featuring Bring Me the Horizon. When Lil Uzi Vert dropped the Pink tape, I was like, that's a lot of songs. And then when I heard from my roommate that the second half of the album is really where it starts to get fun and they start experimenting with their style, I'm like, okay, I believe you. And then we hit this one, and she was right. For lack of a better word. Like, I did not expect Lil Uzi Vert, known like kind of goofy, like nasally high-pitched rapper, to be doing metalcore emo music. But now that I have it, I need more. Like, I need a full, like, on the type of shit that like Lil Wayne and Nicki Minaj were doing in the late aughties with like trying out all their rap records and stuff. Or like rock records rather. I need that. I need that from Lil Uzi Vert. Like, I don't care what comes next. If I have another one of these songs, I am satisfied. Like, in a whole album, I'm going. I'm not of this earth anymore. You know what I'm saying? It, like, the way that I never knew that I needed hip hop, like ad libs on like emo music before this song came around, but now that I have it, I'm like, where are they on all the rest of these songs? I need them, you know? This unexpected like clashing of styles complement each other, and I think, you know, it really is just a sleeper pick, unexpected song off of this album that I hope gets some more appreciation in the future. And now we go into number 19. There's a lot of good picks off of this album. But I know that Kingdom Hearts Key is probably the better song. That's the one that most people talk about. That's the one that keeps getting replayed and shown in like sample breakdowns and stuff. But this is just my favorite. Like, I put this on in the car and I'm like, man, I'm going 80 and a 30. That is not an admission of guilt. That is a hyperbole. I know you're watching. Like, when I went to the show, like I mentioned earlier, I was like, literally, they only have to play this one song and then I'm happy. And then I heard like the and then like the chorus comes in, and like they start separating for the mosh, and then when the bass hits, we all just slammed into each other. I didn't know what was happening. Those were the scariest 3 minutes of my life. Like, all I could see was like flashing lights, and I was getting thrown each way in different directions, just whoo, whoo, and I could barely keep my feet on the ground. And I see Danny Brown and JPEG just walking around, or like Danny Brown was just in overalls doing this the whole time. And I was just like, this is what music is about. Like, the stupid mixing on this album really benefits it. Like, this song especially benefits from like ridiculous bass. I need the largest subwoofer in the world. I need earth-shattering bass for this song. Even though it's already mixed terribly and the bass is stupid high, it needs to be higher in order for me to get proper enjoyment of this song, because the whole point of this song is that you just forget who the fuck you are for a few minutes. And then like when you actually start listening on headphones and you start thinking about it, Danny Brown is making like biblical sex jokes for a minute and a half straight. Like, what else could I want from this? You know? And now number 18. I saw these guys live as well. They were very good. I gotta give a shout out to my homegirl from elementary school that I hit up that had like moved across the country, and she put me on these guys, and I'm very glad, because all of this whole album that they released this year, especially this song, Never Been Wrong, just hit. Like, I'm a sucker for fun time signatures. I love 6/4 and 6/8 especially. And then when this comes on, it starts soft, and then it just like slowly builds up and keeps going, and like really describes the kind of apathy and the walls that people put up around themselves in order to protect themselves from being wrong about stuff and having to really like think about themselves critically. And then like slowly the process through the song that has just built up these walls is now tearing them down, and like we get this angelic like bridge into the final section of the song that is just like, for a long time I was obsessed. I couldn't stop, couldn't get over it, I think that's the word. And it's like the same stuff from the previous, like the sections of the song from the very beginning, but in a whole new light. And the way that that Tennis, this married duo, are able to really travel that journey in less than 4 minutes, I think should be studied, honestly. Like, this is a great example of songwriting, and I think anybody who's really into indie needs to check this out. Now we got number 17. So remember earlier what I said about Joji just casually dropping the best song in his entire discography? Lil Yachty did this with no singles. I'm surprised I put this low, because when the year first started, all through January and February and like the first half of March, I was obsessed with this album. And this song, the very first song on this album, just sets the groundwork for what you're about to hear so effectively. It is the like absolute best song in his discog, and it's not even close. Like, not even off of this album. Like, it pays homage to its influences, including like Dark Side of the Moon, while also, you know, taking that kind of formula and building on it with his own, you know, with his own flair and his own style, and really just cementing himself as like a true artist, a true musician in this one song. And like through the 6 minutes, the entire path of this album is laid out to you, and you understand what you're about to get into, because this is kind of crazy and there are no stops on this ride whatsoever. And whatever Lil Yachty happens to do next, he is going to do it well, if this is any indication. Next up, we got number 16. All of My Friends Are Going to Hell. Okay. You gotta listen to this. This is crazy, and not in the same way that the previous song was crazy. I'm talking, the whole point of this album and this song are meant to demonstrate how much religious trauma and pressure can really put strain on a person and make them mad and start to isolate themselves from their friends because of things that they once did, they once partook in. This whole thing is like talking about how all of her friends, like the song says, all of my friends are going to hell, and I'm afraid. I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to be like my friends who are doing that. I need new friends. Jesus, save me, forgive me. And it really perfectly demonstrates that kind of thought process in a way that is at the same time minimal with its instrumentation and then way too much all at once, because there are just moments where it is only her voice and then it is intersected by these crazy old piano recordings that sound like they were recorded in the 50s, and these were like dragged through mud and they had like been saved in a warehouse for a good 40 years before anybody brought them back up from the dirt. And the power, absolute, like, raw, like, this is from the gut. It's not from the heart. It's from down here. You gotta push for that motherfucker. And just hearing this is like its own experience. And there are many other songs like this off of this album. I was considering, instead of this song, putting the final track, How Can I Keep From Singing, which I think you should also check out, that instead of like being like this, like it is similar. They're recorded in very similar environments where it just sounds like stuff that was way too old, way too old to be understood by modern like audiophile ears, but like the whole time it is underscored by like weeping and like just absolute sorrow for things lost and things gained and what could have changed. And just any of these songs on this album could have been right here, but I chose this one. And if that sounds interesting to you, go check it out. It'll definitely be on the albums list later, before the end of the year, hopefully. No guarantees. Number 15, we got Moonlight by Uchis. I know this is like the basic pick because, it got big on TikTok or whatever the fuck. I don't care. I think it's big on TikTok for a reason. There's a lot of good choices on this one. But overall, Moonlight takes the cake because it is really the perfect sound. It really is like it is a perfect glimpse into the kind of sound that this album and Kali Uchis in general really puts forward. And like the way that the bass just sounds kind of like it, like the bass kind of it sounds like you are in the pool hearing a song that is being played on a speaker outside the water, like you're underwater and you're hearing it crystal clear. And it's a super cool feeling, honestly. Like, I wish I had someone that I could sing this song about. That's how good it is. Like, I wish I could be like, man, I just want to get high with my lover. Pero no muñeca cuando mira en el espejo, kiss, kiss, Like, it is infectious, this level of bass and like the production, and on top of that, Kali Uchis' gorgeous voice. I really could not ask for more. Now we got number 14, Glowworms by Jonah Yano. I did not expect this to be a jazz record, much less did I expect this song, which is kind of like a prog jazz song. Like the buildup that this song takes while keeping the same kind of ascending and descending pattern, kind of like how a worm would like wiggle, like up and down and up and down. And also I'm a sucker for 6/8. So like just all of these things combined with like this jazzy production that sounds kind of like spiritual and like neo soul type of stuff. I don't even know what the lyrics are about, but they hit. Like when they're there, they're important, and when they're not there, they really let the song do the talking, and that's the important part. Like the build-up, the way that this song crescendos and then just lets you back down into the same melodic idea that it's been building for this entire song, really great. And I think, maybe this should be a new jazz standard. Who knows? like that's ever gonna happen. That's okay though. Number 13, Fusion Dance by Strawberry Milk Cult. I heard Strawberry Milk Cult for the first time when they opened up for Mustard Service last year, in 2022, and they had a lot of good stuff. Then they had the eponymous album. They had a lot of really good songs on there, and then they were like, "Hey, we're releasing an EP this year," and I was like, "Let's go! No way!" And then they released the first single, and I was like, "This is an interlude, Iron Lung interlude." I'm a little less excited now. Hopefully, it's not really super indicative of what the actual album is going to be like. And then I played it when it came out, and I was like, okay, this is pretty good. Okay, yeah, I see the style. And then this song plays, and you hear, and it just is like I had to stop and do a double take. I'm like, what? Wait, hang on. Am I listening? Is this the same album? This is the same EP? And slowly, like, you hear just this arpeggiated chord that really eases you in, and then slowly it just, drops you into the actual indie rock stuff, and then they just go ham on there. Like, they go crazy, and it's just like, it is infectious. It makes you want to move. You're like, whoa, what's going on? And you don't even know what the words are, but you just go, the whole way through the chorus, and like, they're just doing it like nobody else. They're just going in there and they're like, hey, this is our song, check it out, and they do it, and you're like, wow, that's crazy. And that's the best way I can describe this song. I don't even know. I think it's like a Dragon Ball reference. I don't even know what it means. It might be a sex allegory, it might be not. I really have no idea, but it hits. Number 12, Runner's High by Kirinji. Kirinji is interesting. They are a Japanese band that has almost no play outside of Japan. And they have one of my favorite songs ever. Basically everything is in Japanese. I don't understand a damn thing that they're saying. But when I saw they released an album this year, I was like, oh, I gotta check it out. And I was not disappointed at all. Because Runner's High, the very first song on this album, just... It is 6 minutes straight of the perfect blend between J-pop and like jazz influence, like jazz pop. You know what I mean? It really builds on its own ideas exceptionally well. I think that the way that they have constructed this piece has so much intrigue. You start listening and you're not immediately like blown away. It takes a couple minutes, but it spends those minutes sowing these seeds in your mind, and then when in the final half they start to pay off, it all hits at once, and you're like, wow. I got left there dumbfounded. I was kind of just like, okay, like I was dancing along. I'm over on my little thing, and I gotta say, like, this really, it hits. It really hits. I don't really have any other word to describe it. And now we're moving on to number 11, Avalanche of Love by Witch. This is where it starts to get stupid hard to rank these songs, because pretty much everything from here to number 1 could be switched around in any order, and I would still agree. But I chose to put this song. Originally, this is also one of my most anticipated albums of the year, because last year, around November in 2022, Witch, who had not released any new music in 50 years, released a new single called Waile. And it's on this album, but that's why it's not on this list, because I already had it on last year's list, because it was a single. But this one, Avalanche of Love, I'm happy to take its place. I've really been debating between which song should be on here. Originally, it was going to be Unimvosh Ashuga, which just is such a fun track. But this one, Avalanche of Love, oh, there should be a feature on here. Oh, whoops. Avalanche of Love featuring Sampa the Great, who is also an artist from Zambia. The groove on this track is so crazy. This might be my favorite groove on any song this year. Like, it's good enough that it could be sampled for, like, this could be, like, if this were released in, like, the 60s or 70s, and, like, American hip-hop producers found it around then, this would be arguably, I think, as big as like one of the Ohio Players samples or like Bumpin' Bus Stop. Like that's how crazy good the groove is, and like these reverb drenched acid guitars just groove you through the whole thing. And like, you know, Sampa gets on there and she's rapping in 6/8. Oh, there's another 6/8 song. She's rapping in like stuff. The lyrics aren't super deep, but it doesn't matter because you're in there. You just are like, I imagine myself listening to this song in like a rundown basement venue with like 50 people all just clumped together, and we are like, we're all just like, ooh, okay, ooh, right, the whole time. And then they like at the very end of the song, the lead singer of which, Emmanuel Jaggery, jumps in with Sampa the Great, and they just start like duetting each other basically, and it's like awesome. It rocks. I cannot recommend this album enough to anybody who loves like all of the reverb drenched rock stuff. Like if you like a lot of Tame Impala's earlier work, if you like King Gizzard, definitely check this out. You will not be disappointed. Now we get into the top 10. This is where the real GOAT material comes from. You know what I'm saying? And immediately, Run, Run, Run by McKinley Dixon. This song is just so good. Like, I did not expect, because McKinley Dixon, this is McKinley Dixon's second album. I did not expect anything like super crazy. And then like this song really blew me away. Like it takes what jazz rap foundationally is all about and then celebrates it while also doing new things. And like while this same instrumental is playing that's like super uplifting, while at the same time McKinley Dixon is rapping about like reminiscing about old friends and like his kind of rise to stardom in the rap game, like complement each other super well. And they just get like, he just gets crazy with like the flows and how he raps all of his different verses on top of this single single instrumental. I don't even know if it's a sample or not. That's how crazy it is. But there's like a certain part about like 2.5 minutes in where like it is like probably the best part of one of like top 3 best parts of any song this year, in my opinion. Like where he just starts doing the triplets and stuff, and I just like ooh, you know, it's awesome. Definitely check. Like I'm gonna keep my eye on this motherfucker going forward because wow, I have been wowed so many times, and this one especially sticks out. Now we got number 9, My Body by slayyyter. Can't be too careful with the album cover. But she is slaying, like the name suggests. Eurobeat, EDM kind of stuff. This is club music, like through and through. And also, for some reason, the exact ideal of what it would feel like to be in those like vaporwave inspired animated desktop backgrounds where there is like a bright pink car on a road and there's all of these like futuristic city stuff in the background with like the sun and like all of the lines and like the palm trees at the same time. That is what this song feels like. It feels like I am driving in a cyberpunk city late at night with nobody else on the road, and I'm going so crazy fast. Like, there's a lot of good picks on this album, I can't even lie, but this one really sticks out to me because the way that it is presented, it can be interpreted in feeling so many different ways. You could, like, the way that I feel listening to this song might be totally different from how you feel about it, but it would still be the same song and it would still be great regardless. Like, the ability for a song to do that is really one of a kind special, and I really think this should not be overlooked. Now we got number 8, Freak Me Now by Jessie Ware. We got 2 dance ladies right back to back. She's bringing back disco, and I cannot be happier because this song also makes me feel like I'm speeding in my car, and maybe sometimes I do. that's hyperbole again. I'm not admitting any guilt. Like, there are a lot of other songs that a lot of people would prefer that to put on a list like this, but this one, the groove, it is more infectious than the bubonic plague type of shit. Like, this could wipe out a third of Europe if it got out onto major radio stations and like big like Spotify playlists and stuff like that. There is just such a rhythm, such an energy to this song, really unmatched by a lot of other stuff that I've heard this year. And even though it was released in like March, it is stuck in my rotation for like 9 months since then. This is a baby at this point. It is that good. And really, I could have put any song on this album here. They're all that good. But, you know, Freak Me Now is the one I chose, and I'm going to stick with it because it is super good. Now we got number 7, Thick Skull by Paramore. Really similar situation. For, like, up until August this year, I thought this was going to be Song of the Year. Like, until, like, I was like, man, 2023 is kind of a lame year for music. And then August hit and everybody started dropping bangers. And I was like, where was this in like the summer? Like, because we had such that lull, but that's not part of the video. Thick Skull by Paramore might be their best song. It might be their favorite song of mine, just ever. Like, even considering like Brick by Boring Brick, Ain't It Fun, like all of that stuff, you know, all of their absolute classic songs that were dominating the radio back in the day. This might be their best. And I mean that with 100%, with 1,000%, because this sounds unlike anything they've ever done before, and it makes me want an entire album that sounds like this. I hope, like, after hearing this, I'm like, why does the rest of this album not sound like this song? Like, it is so unique. It is so cool. And it, like, the way that it constructs itself is so crazy cool. I don't think I've heard really anything else like it before. And I start, like, the more I like a song, the less I start describing it. I'm just like, you know, whoo, you know? And this is one of those because damn. Number 6, Emoticon by Yada Yada. I gotta shout out some. These guys really deserve the shout out because damn, they have like they just released their first, like, their debut EP a couple days ago, or maybe a couple weeks ago, as of the recording of this video. And this single has been out for a while, but even without the rest of the album, I was like, this is on my list. This is absolutely on my 2023 list because it is just so crazy good. Like, indie punk does not always serve the same niche that other songs would. I wouldn't often place that kind of genre alongside like the same driving power that of other genres. It's a different kind, you know what I mean? But this transcends genre. Like, this song, if it was like a country song or reggae, I would still be going crazy. I'd be going like, and oh god, shit. And that's what I'd be doing, man, because, like, golly, it is just the most powerful pop, the most punkest rock, the most indie. These guys have like 2,000 monthly listeners. I hope this like video gets them like 5 more at the very least, because man, they deserve it. If like this song is so good, it got me watching the rest of their career. You know what I'm saying? Just so awesome, breathtaking. And now we enter the top 5 songs of 2023. Highly awaited. I know this video is like almost an hour long at this point, but we in there. I hope y'all have been enjoying so far. Don't forget to check out the playlist links in the description for Spotify and YouTube. And I'll also have, I would love to hear what you guys think of your favorite songs in the comments as well. Without any further ado, though, top number 5, Getaway by Blossom Aloe. Another really indie band. These guys come from Houston. I saw them live, and it was because of this song. This song is so crazy good. It is their best song by a mile. I don't think they're going to, like, this is hard to top. It is to me, it is the quintessential indie song of 2023 and maybe of even the last 3 years, which is a crazy ask because we've had a lot of great indie in the last couple years. But, like, this really just came out of nowhere, and, like, it is so uplifting, so happy. It got me moving free like this and just, like, rocking back and forth and, like, closing my eyes and thinking about, man, oh, and I could be on the beach right now and, like, laying on a beach towel, and they got the umbrella up here. I'm sitting back with my hands behind my head. I'm drinking a Mai Tai, and, like, I got, or I'm at a barbecue with all my family and friends, and we're just hanging out. All the kids are running around playing football or soccer or basketball or whatever. Everyone's laughing. There's music going on. The grill is sizzling, and I just hear this in the background, and I'm like, wow, it is so awesome being alive. 1,000 horses are racing across the sky. I can see them now. The clouds moving as this entire song just encapsulates the beautiful feeling, that ecstasy that comes with the greatest moments in life. Like, I know I just waxed poetic about nothing, but, like, that is how it feels, and you don't know until you felt it, and you gotta feel it by listening to this song. Like, this is just it is the perfect pick-me-up song. If you're sad, go listen to it. If you're happy, go listen to it. If you're mad, it'll calm you down. If you're whatever the else emotions, those are the only 3 that I know, it'll make you feel better. On God. That's a high ask to beat, but we're gonna beat it. Number 4, Shit Talk by Sufjan Stevens. Oh my God. Wow. Like, I had been planning to listen to Sufjan Stevens for a while before he randomly released a new album this year, Javelin. And this song, the second one from the final, is 8.5 minutes, and it is purely just soul-crushing music. Like, there is little else like it. Even within his own, like, this immediately goes in some of the greatest, like, folksy, avant-folk, or, like, folktronica is what the name is, songs, period. Like, the way that the song acts as kind of like a celebration of love lost and a contemplation of what things could have been like if maybe things had gone differently, and acknowledging your own personal faults, and then just slowly building as all of these voices start to collide and, like, weave in and out with each other. Start, like, I don't want to fight anymore. I will always love you, but I can't handle this anymore. And then at the very end, you are left with 2 straight minutes of instrumental decay. And if you watch the lyric video, you will see letters falling down the screen that spell out, I will always love you. And it is just such a moving piece. It is heartfelt. It is heart-wrenching. It makes me feel things I haven't even felt before. It gives me a glimpse into the mind of Sufjan Stevens, and I'm like, damn, bro, let me get you some ice cream, because that shit sucks. Like, it really is one of those things that makes me so happy to be able to listen to music, because without it, I wouldn't have such beautiful pieces like this. What can top it, though? Number 3, Jen's Terrific Vacation by dannybrown. This song released as the second single to the album he just dropped this year, Quaranta. When it dropped, I listened to it the first day. I watched the music video. Great music video, by the way. And then I listened to that song about 30 times, just, like, back to front before the album released. It was, and it's been in my rotation since then. Like, Danny Brown is known for getting kind of freaky with it, kind of experimental, which is why I love him now. Now that I've been introduced, thanks to Scaring the Hose. And this record kind of sees a more contemplative version of himself. But now in this song, it is a song about gentrification. If you shorten the name, if you say it fast enough, Jen's Terrific Vacation, gentrification, right? It is a conscious song that presents itself like a fucking haunted house. Like, I'm on some Luigi's Mansion type of shit, like, with the fucking vacuum cleaner sucking up ghosts listening to this. But at the same time, it's like, there is real societal hurt that is being discussed at the same time. And, like, the way that the drums are unlike anything in hip-hop that we've heard before, and just, like, the combination, like, near kind of the second third of the song, there is a breakdown where the beat gets stripped and reduced. There's no drums. It's just a couple synths, and it hits harder than anything with the drums, and then things start to get sparse and spaced out. Not just discussing the effects of gentrification on, like, disadvantaged populations in America, especially black neighborhoods, but also showing it musically as these ideas start to get sparsed out and drowned out in the sea of all of these people who are taking their place and, like, inserting themselves into these places where they are looking for a payday, as the song says, where, and by doing so, are driving out all of these people who are already struggling. And it's just, like, after this is done, I'm gonna go listen to it 2 more times because it's that good. And now we get to number 2. Originally, number 2 was gonna be my number 1, but then I thought about it and I was like, man, the number 1 is just that good. But so, number 2. If you look close enough, you can see. I can't really see it because I'm colorblind, but if you look close enough, you can see the album cover, Rest, from Foo Fighters. But Here We Are. This will go down as one of Foo Fighters' best songs ever. It is up there with Everlong, The Pretender, My Hero, all of it. Like, it might even be better than some of those. Like, this song, I believe, was written about the passing of the drummer of Foo Fighters, whose name I do not remember, and is just, like, at the start, it is just Dave Grohl whisper singing into the microphone with an acoustic guitar, talking about all of the little things, you know. He's waking up, he is laying in the clothes of this person who he misses. Life is, you know, he talks about how this life was taken away from him so soon, and he wishes nothing more for this person to be back. And, like, the riff kicks in that then will be repeated throughout the song, and he just starts saying, "You can rest now." He understands that as much as he wants this person back, it is better now that they are gone, because now they don't have to worry about the struggles or the problems anymore. They are at rest, they are at peace. And then that happens, and there is a chord that is played on the guitar. It is a final chord. It's like, oh, wow, okay. Things are resolved. Things are better now. And then you just get slapped in the face. Bow! And they just hit you with these crazy synths that are like, and just like, they just latch onto my brain, and they're like, you are liking this. And I'm like, okay, because I can't help it. Like, this... Oh, God, it's so incredible, man. Like, the feeling that this instills. Like, I put this on in the car, and I go full volume, and it just goes... And, like, in every speaker all around me, I park, and I close my eyes, and I imagine shit that isn't even real, that I haven't even gone through, with people that I've never met and that don't exist. And I'm just imagining these vivid scenarios, like like I see this person falling, and all around them these colors are just interweaving with each other as visages and visions of memories past, long gone, smiles that have now been faded, and times that can never be returned to slowly pass around me as I fall. And like they just like, and then the same thing of "You Can Rest Now" is the only thing that gets repeated throughout the rest of the song, and it hits absolutely harder. Just, and then like they really let the guitars do the talking and let you feel. You're not just thinking, you're feeling. And like I can't even begin to describe in like simple terms, like longing, how this makes me feel. I've got to be like, like when I listen to this song, things like I become another person. I am in a different world now, and it is a world of acceptance. It is one where I can accept that bad things have happened and move on while still maintaining how close the people and the things that have been in my life have been. And it really, like, when I was going through a lot of stuff, grounded me and was like, you know, I can handle this. I can do this. And in a very similar vein to that, of how that made me feel, we have the number one song of 2023, in my opinion. It is Jonathan L. Seagull by Sampha. I did not listen to Sampha's first album, Control, back in 2016, but I heard that there was a 7-year wait for it, and I'm like, okay, well, I better not miss this chance. A lot of people that I've seen do top lists of songs for 2023 have put different songs for their pick from Lahai, this album. And I don't blame them. There are a lot of great picks on this one. But this, Jonathan L. Seagull, makes me feel like I have it all figured out. I know where my life is going. I know that things are going to change. And I know that it will be okay. And that is exactly what I needed to hear when I first heard it, and even right now. When, you know, in times that are so tumultuous and ever-changing and difficult, it's really difficult to see through the mud. And, like, you know, we're so far down here in the swamp that it's hard to remember that we can stand up and see the light and the beauty that life takes, and how getting swamped up in these details and all of the little things, you know, like all the little petty drama and the discourse and like all of the bad things that are happening sometimes make us forget that, you know, not everybody is the same, and that is okay. It is okay to be different. It is okay to disagree. It is okay. Everybody will be, you know, we will all be okay. Things will go on. We will figure it out. And like this has one of the hardest drops of any song this year, maybe the hardest drop besides Rest. But just like the way Sampha's voice is so ethereal and just floats above the rest of the stuff, and almost like an observer looking down from the clouds at all of these people who are stuck in their positions. He is reminding us that, you know, there are ways out, and all of the differences that we have, they are to be celebrated. They are okay. It is okay to be different from each other, and we should love each other for it. And I really just am so blown away every time I listen, even now, even having listened to it like 20 or more times, even having listened to the album in its entirety. I look forward to this song every single time, and I think I will for a couple more years to come. And I have to thank all of you who are watching this video right now. I know this was long. I know it was a doozy. I didn't think 35 songs would take an hour, but thank you for sticking around. I really do appreciate it. All of the comments, all of the likes, all of the support, everything means so very much to me. And I'm just, I haven't been able to do a lot of the stuff that I wanted to this year, but I hope that this gets me back in the groove. I'm going to get, like once things start to settle down a little bit, I'm going to be able to do this again. And I just am so ever thankful that there are people who are willing to listen, because I just love talking about music. I love having the conversation. And any way that you want to or that you can join the conversation, absolutely appreciated with 100% of my being. So thank you so very much for watching. I will see you in the top albums of 2023, and I'll see you next year. Thanks so much. Don't forget to do all that stuff, and bye-bye.